This works. We're going to be practicing this on the Escape machine on HackTheBox. So we'll first start off with what Active Directory Certificate Services is and the misconfigurations within it. And essentially what this is basically any low privilege user can escalate their privileges in Active Directory, often up to a domain admin, using these different ADCS abuse scenarios. And it goes all the way from ESC1 all the way to ESC17. ESC1 being the most common, and that's the one that I'm going to be showing you an example of in today's video. And basically, this is enrollee supplied subject for client authentication. This is the Certify wiki. So Certify is the tool that we're going to be using to abuse Active Directory certificate services. And ESC1 is a stereotypical ADCS misconfiguration that can lead directly to privilege escalation. The vulnerability arises when a certificate template is inadequately secured, permitting a low privilege user to request a certificate and, importantly, specify an arbitrary identity within the certificate SAN. This allows the attacker to impersonate any user, including administrators. So basically, if you don't necessarily understand what that means, is when a user requests a certificate, essentially they're requesting a certificate as themselves. However, how hackers abuse this is that instead of requesting a certificate for themselves, they will actually supply an arbitrary subject alternative name within that request. That way they can request a certificate as another user. And most commonly, they'll request a certificate using the subject alternative name of the domain administrator account. So that way they can then request the domain administrator account certificate. They can then use that certificate to authenticate into the domain controller and grab a TGT or ticket granting ticket. And that ticket granting ticket is just as good as having a user's password. So I'm going to be showing you how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to actually enumerate what templates are actually vulnerable. So you can do this with Certify Find. So you just type Certify AD-find, and then you'll supply the credentials that you currently have. And these will just be any low privilege credentials. And then we'll also give it the flag specifying the domain controller IP address. And then you want to make sure you have -vulnerable to only view the vulnerable templates. And if you run this, it will enumerate all the templates, and it should print out a text file. Okay, so now that it is done enumerating the vulnerable templates, it output the information into this text file. So all we have to do is just cat this out, and then we'll just search for the file. And then here at the bottom here, we're able to see that it is vulnerable to ESC1. So enrollee supplied subject, and we see right here ESC1 enrollee supplied subject for client authentication. So this setting is enabled on this template, which makes it vulnerable to ESC1. So whenever a user requests a certificate template, they can submit the request supplying any subject name that they want, allowing them to essentially impersonate any user within the domain. So how to abuse this, we can use Certify AD, and Certify AD has a request option that can be used to actually request the certificate. So I'm just going to clear my screen here, and I'm going to run this command so you can see this. Okay, so here is what the command looks like. So you'll type Certify-AD, and then we'll use the REQ for the request option. And then you'll supply the credentials that you currently have. These will be the low privilege credentials. And then you'll specify the domain controller IP address. We will also specify the CA name, which was also in that TXT file that we did the enumeration for, and then the template. So this was also in that text file that we enumerated as well. And then for the user principal name, this will be the user that you want to impersonate. And this could be any user within the domain. But we want to impersonate the domain administrator user, so we're just going to do the UPN for the domain admin account. And then we'll just hit enter, and then watch it request the certificate, and it's going to save it as a .pfx file. Okay, so as we see right here, the certificate was saved as administrator.pfx. So now we can just authenticate into the domain controller with the certificate and grab the TGT as well as the NTLM hash. So we'll just do certify dash auth AD auth. And then the command will look just like this. So you'll just do certify AD auth, and then you'll just do dash PFX and the name of the PFX along with the domain controller IP address again. We'll just hit enter, and then we should get the TGT as well as the NTLM hash. Okay, so we have the TGT. So the TGT was actually, it's saved in the administrator.cache file, and then we also have the NTLM hash. So we can authenticate with either one of these. So we're just going to be doing the pass the hash. So we can do this with evil winrm. So we'll just save this. So we'll just type evil winrm, and then instead of using dash P option, you just do dash H, and then you'll copy and paste the second portion of that hash in here. And then for the username, you just do administrator. And this is how you pass the hash, guys. So we don't even need to crack the password. We have the hash along with the Kerberos ticket granting ticket. So we can actually authenticate with this, and we should, if we type who am I, we are now the administrator. And that's how you escalate your privileges abusing Active Directory certificate services. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something. If you want to work in cybersecurity, especially if you want to work in offensive cyber, this is definitely something that you're going to run across when you're doing real engagements. So it's definitely something that you should be aware of. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what other type of videos and what other things you want me to explain, or what other type of videos you want me to make. That will be all for today.